Hello and welcome to Quiz the Bear 6, halfway to double figures. And this session, I'm going to try and answer some of Gemma Arnell's questions. Gemma's from Auckland in New Zealand. And if you've seen on the Facebook page asking for questions, she's asked quite a lot. So what I've actually had to do, which is unusual for me, is I've made some notes, and I've also got the Facebook thing to hand here. And I'll be mindful of the time because I like to keep the videos short, and I'll try and answer as many questions as I can in the next few minutes. Okay, here goes. Question 1. How does your illness affect your family? So the first thing I'm thinking is which part of the family? My immediate family, and I mean by that Liz and Rosie, or do you mean the next bit of immediate family being my parents and my sister's family? And then there's the bigger family, all the cousins, aunts and uncles, all the rest of it. Okay, so how does your illness affect your family? Liz and Rosie. Well, in some ways, my illness has coincided rather conveniently with Rosie getting older and being of the stunted terrier variety of short leg. She doesn't walk so far now. She's getting older. She'll be 12 this year, as best we know. So initially, as she couldn't walk so far, I was a little bit disappointed because I hadn't got ill and I like to walk a lot, or used to. Or I still would like to walk a lot. But as I got ill, it was kind of convenient that she doesn't walk so far. She walks off the lead, and a few months ago, I decided she was walking less and less and less to the point that we needed to do something about it. So, for the benefit of herself and myself, one of her walks each day, I put her on a lead. So I choose where we go rather than her because she's off the lead. It's her walk, and we walk that bit further, which is good for both of us. Mindful that I have to walk slowly, very slowly up hills, and keep my heart rate down. How does this affect your family, Liz? I suppose it's probably quite profound in some ways how it's affected my life with my partner. But equally well, we're partners in life, and there's other challenges in life, not just my illness. There's other things that are personal and I don't need to talk about, and you're in it together. So you cope with it and accept it, and it is what it is, and we're both happy and have a wonderful life. As for my parents, well, obviously, you can see how old I am. They're older than me. They're both in their 70s. I think they're more mindful that I've lost a lot of strength and stamina. There's like little jobs where my mum and dad want to help me do things, when I'm round at their house particularly, or my dad's been and helped me a few times here. But we're kind of the effect of my illness is to have aged. I'm not as strong and I don't have as much stamina. So I'm equally concerned sometimes about them about lifting something or whatever. So it's kind of a mutual thing. As for like my sister's family or anything, I doubt it's affected them in any way other than to have learnt about a new illness, be mindful of my having it. They've probably bought a few books from Amazon. So it's probably about awareness rather than any massive changes. Though I dare say I haven't asked them about this. They naturally would have been concerned and possibly upset. But life goes on. So there you go. Next question. Right, I'm not going to get through many of these. Okay, so before I move on to next questions, I need to talk about something. So what I've learned over a long period of time, and it took a lot of figuring out this, that is, if I am not just physically and emotionally active, but particularly, like, I'm going to call it intellectually active. So I'm like writing my books in particular. If I overdo it, I find that later in the day, particularly the evening, I can talk to people, and apparently I'm quite lucid. I can make plans with people and talk about things, share experiences, and whilst everything appears normal, the next day I'll have absolutely no recollection of it. So that's how it is, and I've understood that. So I try to write enough to feel I've accomplished something, but not to do too much to overdo it so I can't remember things later on. So that's the background to this. So, what is it like waking up with little memory of the previous day, evening, or night? Um, well, I can make light of this in that I don't realise I don't remember, so it's okay, it's fine. Um, do you worry people don't believe you can't remember talking to them? uh, that really is their problem, not mine. Um, that is the case. If they understand what's going on and know about it, then it won't be a problem. If they is a problem for them and they don't understand, then so be it. Because I do often say to people, I do have a bad memory. You might have to remind me. But there's a challenge with that in that somebody might take advantage of you through not having a good memory. But anyway, let me keep going. Do you think they believe that these sound convenient? My writing's terrible. Sound convenient symptoms, or do you have selective memory, or you don't care to listen? Um, I don't think most people do. I think most people that are aware of it realise it. Um, with a lot of these things, I've been banging the drum that long and that loud about ME, what it's like to live with, that a lot of people accept what I am saying about symptoms. Um, yeah, having made light of this, it has been extremely difficult to learn about all of my memory problems. And it started very early after when I believe I got ME. Um, we went almost immediately into lockdown, and my partner has a restaurant, and she had to furlough the staff. And without an income, she decided to do takeaway Sunday lunches. And, naturally, I've volunteered to help. Now, I didn't know I had ME, but I did know I was recovering from an illness. So that's what I thought at the time. And the first time we really realised there was a problem, she asked me to peel potatoes and cut them up to make roast potatoes, and she would cook them and everything afterwards. And I was just doing the early part of the preparation. And we had to estimate how many people were going to have lunch. And so let's say it's 50 to make it an easy number for me. And everybody got 3 potatoes, so that would be 150. So I started to peel them, and I put the peeled potatoes into a pan. Once I'd filled the pan, I then started chopping them up, and I'd chop up and fill a chopping board with potential roast potatoes, and then I'd start counting them into another pan. And it was probably after about the fourth go that I realised I was unable to count. And once I realised I couldn't count, then I had to get Liz to count the for me. And at the time, I just said, I don't know what's going wrong, but I can't remember. I keep losing track of my counting. I think that was the first time that we realised I had a memory problem. And that was March 2020, and it's now April 2024. And although I've learned a lot about my memory, and so has my partner Liz, and how we live with it, and we're getting better all the time, it still throws up some problems, um, and it's frustrating for me not being able to remember. It's frustrating for me when I say you didn't ask me that or you didn't tell me that because I can't remember, and it's frustrating for her and for other people when they've told me something and I can't remember it. And I think we're doing really well understanding the problem, me trying to recognize when I haven't remembered something by people's reactions or things, being really kind with each other, um, and acknowledging that there's a problem and it works both ways and it's frustrating for all parties. And there's other people I deal with, come into contact with, but it's less difficult because you're not living with that person all the time. Um, I do worry about people taking advantage of me though, because like I can't count properly. So I try to use electronic uh, interactions with money rather than cash because I can't rely on myself to count it out. Um, yeah, so I've been talking to nearly 12 minutes. So I think that will have to end there, and we'll have to go on to more of Gemma's questions another time. So if you've got this far, thank you and my sympathies. Thank you, Gemma, for the questions. Um, I hope it helps somebody, and bye bye for now.